Metacritic has a massive flaw in its system, one that's been left uncorrected for decades. If you look at their highest rated games, you'll see that Snake is not at the top of the list. This is a crime, and one that needs to be corrected. The best game of all time is Snake, and I can prove this. Let's start up a round. It begins as a serene environment. Our protagonist, this bitch. Looking at the starting screen, you'll see an apple on the other side of the playing field. This encourages the dumb monkey-brained idiot piloting the serpent to press the right arrow or the D key if they're really fucking sweaty. When you get close to the apple, you consume it, devour it whole, core and all, and the snake doubles in size, gaining an extra square of snake meat slapped onto its caboose without a second's delay. This process continues until you are eventually trapped and slaughtered by the consequences of your own gluttony. It's a beautiful tale, and it has fantastic gameplay to go with it. Now, as a bit of a control, let's take a look at a criminally overrated game that Snake managed to blow the fuck out of in nearly every aspect. For this example, I will be using Super Mario 64, a game that I famously am very fond of. Let's take a look at everything that Snake does right and see how Super Mario 64 compares. Beginning with the movement, Snake is a clear winner. Compared to the clunky and outdated controls of the 1996 human rights violations, Snake's easy to grasp and satisfying controls are just one part of what puts it leagues ahead of the competition. Compared to Super Mario 64, where you have many options of where to move at any given moment, overwhelming the brain of the player and often resulting in spontaneous combustion, Snake gives you only 3 directions to move in at any given time, making your range as a player much clearer. Not to mention, Super Mario 64 has many exploits revolving around its movement and how it was programmed, allowing everything from clipping through the floor to teleporting Mario to a parallel universe and back several times over in the blink of an eye. This means the Snake's movement and control is overall more stable and less likely to lead to the immediate destruction of the known universe by ripping the fabric of space-time. Since it's less likely to result in my untimely death, I'm gonna have to give the point to Snake. Next, we'll take a look at the stories of these games. Snake's is quite simple. You are a snake, and you keep eating apples until you die as a result of obesity. Super Mario 64's story, however, is complex and, dare I say, problematic. What do I mean? Well, I know I'm traversing muddy waters, and that this opinion might be a little controversial, but the existence of both Koopa the Quick and normal Koopa Troopas just puts a bad taste in my mouth. Koopa the Quick, a famed athlete, one of the top elite members of the Mushroom Kingdom society, lives and breathes in the same world as these malnourished homeless Koopa people living in unfathomable poverty. Though Koopa the Quick is treated with respect, with the protagonist Mario running several foot races with him at the Quick's demands, the poor are treated as little more than insects, having their shells ripped away from them without a second's thought simply for Mario's own convenience. The winner in the story department is clear, as the Koopa the Quick side plots alone simply have no place in the modern world. You would think Mario is the winner here. After all, Snake has no soundtrack to it. But that is where you're wrong, because Snake's lack of a soundtrack was simply an artistic decision and to immerse you further into the game. If you look at a picture of a snake, you will notice that they don't have any ears, meaning that they are unable to hear anything. Not including a soundtrack was a decision made to make sure the game was biologically accurate, and that attention to detail is something that I cannot help but respect. How easy is it to get a legal version of one of these games working? For Super Mario 64, your only options are either tracking down an original print copy of the game cartridge, a working Nintendo 64, a working Nintendo 64 controller, and either a CRT that can take the connection or an adapter to play the console on a modern television. All you need to play Snake is to Google the word snake and you're there. Although there are other options for playing Super Mario 64, I'm not allowed to talk about them because if I do, Nintendo will send someone to my address to murder me, and even if my life wasn't in immediate danger, Googling a 5-letter word is easier than whatever shenanigans people are up to play Mario on their computers anyway. Super Mario 64 is just one game, of course, and although Snake has its limitations, such as the original lack of modes to play, these have been slowly added in updates that have been dropping consistently, courtesy of some nice Google employees who were allowed to work on the Snake game whenever they're on break from being tortured by Lucifer in the bowels of hell. Although some of you might be thinking that this video was meant to show that anyone on the internet can have any opinion and that nobody's opinion is valued above another, so the idea that a game reviewer has any authority to tell you what is objectively good or bad when that cannot be measured beyond a point so obvious that their job is obsolete and that all it takes to make someone online think you have a good point is to just word it in a way that sounds at least a little convincing, because nobody cares enough to fact check anything like a shit out of your asshole because they're too busy consuming content to think again at the worth and accuracy of the content they've been mindlessly shoving through their eye holes for their cranium to digest, which results in not only simple human error but also legitimate misinformation campaigns going undetected by most people as they take in what they are watching or listening, and which over time could lead to many legitimate problems for society as a whole. This is simply a lie. I just really like Snake.
Wait, oh my, is that a cop? Dude, that's a fucking cop getting his dick sucked.